Hello YouTubers and welcome to another episode here on the channel. Today we have a Q&A episode, and instead of just sort of going through the day answering questions throughout the day like I have normally, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to enlist the help of Zoe to ask some of the questions that have been asked on my Instagram story, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them today while I'm actually on the rowing machine doing a steady state workout. But before we get to that, I'll probably answer a couple of questions that have already been asked. Well, since I'm on the rowing machine, I'll answer sort of rowing machine related questions before we get into the other questions that Zoe deems appropriate. Well, a couple of questions related to rowing long distances on the erg. Biggest one, how do you stay motivated for long steady state sessions? How do you sit on the machine for such a long time? Well, this also hits into another question that was, what's your favourite steady state session? Or what's your favourite length of session? Well, now, for me, the one I'm about to do is my favourite steady state session, which is about 90 minutes, or in fact, exactly 90 minutes. And one of the reasons for that is I'm just kind of very, very used to it. And that hits in with so motivating myself for a long, long time on the rowing machine. At first, say you've not been on the rowing machine for a long time, or you're not used to sitting on it for a long time, doing half an hour, 45 minutes is a struggle. It used to be a struggle for me. Doing sort of 5k, 6k, 7k in a row used to be huge mileage for me. But as I did 5k, then 6k, then 7k, 8k, climbed up 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, the times under those became easier. So when I got used to doing 10k's, then sort of 8k's used to be easier. When I started doing hours on the rowing machine, then sort of 40 minutes used to become easier. Then, now with this new program, I'm getting, or have been getting more and more used to doing more and more mileage. So I've been doing hour rows, 70 minutes, 80 minutes, 90 minutes, all the way up to 2 hour plus rows on the rowing machine. And so by doing those longer sort of 2 hour, 2.5 hour sessions on the rowing machine, it means that the 1 hour, 1.5 hour sessions seem short in comparison. Obviously, they're still a long time on the rowing machine. But for me, that's one of the reasons I'm able to motivate myself to do sort of the 90 minutes or the 80 minutes, the 95, 100 minute ergs, because to me in my head, it doesn't feel too long. Combined with the intensity, the proper, or what I feel like is a proper intensity for me, I'm not going out on the 90 minutes and then wishing I needed to stop halfway through because I'm going to blow up. No, it's pretty much a very steady, very, very steady intensity all the way through. And for me, I track that with my heart rate, keeping myself in that, if you're a runner, that zone 2, if you're a British rower, the UT2 zone, that steady state zone. I know it, throughout the world, that sort of zone, the name of the zone varies. You can use numbers and letters and all that as well. But for me, UT2, my heart rate around about 130 for the entire erg, or at least below 130 and maybe around 130 for the last bit of the erg, but not really going too much higher. But now I'm going to hop on the erg and then we'll get to some questions from Zoe and see if I can answer them without being too out of breath and let my heart rate go too high while we're on this steady state session. So let's get to it. Okay, we are here about 70 minutes in to the 90-minute erg. We, as in Zoe behind the camera, hello, and we're going to do, it's Zoe's idea, a quick fire round. So hopefully I don't just fall off the erg with all this breath I'm using to speak, but just doing something a bit different for the Q&A today. And what we're going to throw in as well, try and see how many, so Zoe's written down some questions that have been asked in the story. And if I can get through them all in 2 minutes, great job! But if I don't get through them all in 2 minutes, well, there's a forfeit. And what will that forfeit be? I don't know. What's going to happen is the Yam Squad, you watching, come up with a forfeit that I can do in tomorrow's video as a punishment for not making through all the questions in 2 minutes. Hopefully that made sense. But now, I'm running out of breath. Quick fire round, starting when Zoe starts the first question.
Right, favourite meal?
Steak pie.
Thoughts on training in sliders?
I like the egg better. Without sliders.
Ben & Jerry's favourite flavour?
Fish food.
What's your nickname?
Cam.
Best part of having training with your own team?
Well, you get to know everybody and you can motivate each other.
Typical breakfast?
First or second breakfast?
First.
Smoothie.
Greatest rower of all time?
Richard Hawkins, RIP.
Favourite pre-workout?
I'm actually currently using an Amsport pre-workout. I like it.
Favourite workout on the erg?
1 minute on, 1 minute off.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Flying.
If you had the last dinner ever on Earth, what would it be?
A big one.
What is your current motivation with everything being cancelled?
My 2K erg was a big motivation and I wanted to see how fast I can get that.
Do you play any instruments?
Violin.
Hobbies outside training?
Training.
Favourite snack?
Chicken and rice.
Snack. Pick anyone from history to row a 2K with, who would it be?
Oh, that must be Matt Vincent or Steve Redgrave.
Main rowing goal?
World records.
If you were to go on holiday, where would it be?
Over water, ocean villa.
How many hours sleep do you get?
8 to 9 hopefully.
What camera do you use?
This is a Sony A7 III.
How many rest days do you have?
Roughly 1 a week.
And what do you do on them?
Chill.
How many calories a day do you eat?
About 7,000 roughly. Okay. Unfortunately, Zoe had about 700 questions, so it looks like I wasn't actually going to be able to do all the questions in 2 minutes, which means, unfortunately for me, that there will be a forfeit in tomorrow's episode. Thank you, Zoe. So if you let me know in the comments below what you think the forfeit should be.
Ice bucket challenge.
Something doable, like I'm not going to be able to do 1,000,000 K on the air tomorrow or a marathon run tomorrow. Something doable. It can be uncomfortable, sure, but yeah, something.
Food challenge.
A food challenge could work, but again, let me know in the comments below what that challenge is. Or what that forfeit is. I'm going to finish off this erg. Not long left now, finishing off just roughly 23K at roughly 129 heart rate. So we'll see you for a little bit more of the Q&A after this time lapse. And we have finished the 90 minutes post quickfire, post 90 minutes on the erg. So a lovely, as it focuses, 158 with a 129 average heart rate. So that went reasonably well. And I just want to, I'll circle back to sort of motivation that I spoke about at the start of today's Q&A episode after a few more questions to answer. So, got a couple here. So if the game's postponed, what does this mean for me? Does that mean I've got another chance to sort of go into the GB team? Well, I kind of mentioned it the other day when I was talking about the cancellation of the Olympic Games or the postponement. Honestly, I don't know what it means because a lot of scheduling and all the events have to be replanned. My theory is that there will be more trials next year, so that gives me another opportunity to trial and therefore another opportunity to get in the team. But my thought process goes, this year was very difficult to get on the team, and next year is going to be even more difficult to get on the team because people have already qualified, so they don't have a set spot on the team. Like, it's not concrete, but it is more set than it would be on a normal Olympiad walk-in kind of thing. So basically I have to displace someone who's even more set on the team to get on the team. So we'd love to try, but we will soon see kind of what actually goes on. My favourite core workout? Well, rowing in general is actually a very good workout for the core. I do a lot of deadlifts when I do weights, which really works the core, works the back, and it's really difficult to get a core workout that you can do on land that mimics the core stability needed on water. Things like actually making it really unstable. So really, if you sit on an exercise ball, a physio ball, and pass back and forth a medicine ball, that's really good. When you take your feet off the ground and have to like wobble to stabilize, that's really good. Or in that kind of exercising, having to stabilize the core, stabilize the hips is really, really helpful. You can make your abs and your core really strong to sort of hold yourself in a plank or do loads of sit-ups, but it doesn't necessarily correlate to having a strong and stable core in the boat. But I'm going to try and make a little video that kind of talks about a core workout that you can do at home as we're all in isolation. Dealing with back pain, especially when I'm doing more and more mileage, well, it ties into having I think my core is reasonably strong, so having a reasonably strong core helps prevent back pain. I've spoken about this before as well, but keeping your intensity low for the high mileage stuff really helps. So for me, making sure I'm in the right zone, like I spoke about earlier, zone 2, UT2 zone, not pushing higher, means that when I am doing the steady state long mileage stuff, I can focus on the technique, make sure it's really on point and I'm not sort of flailing around and meaning that I'm in a bad position. And 2, since I'm less fatigued overall globally within my body, it means that I can, for example, if I would otherwise, if I was tired, have a sore back, my body can almost focus on making it not sore, or at least repairing it better, if that makes sense. Not necessarily, oh, you're going to have a sore back by rowing high mileage, but dropping the intensity certainly means that you're less likely to get injured. So instead of hitting yourself with a big sledgehammer, you're hitting yourself with a small hammer. If that actually makes sense at all. A little bit on the mental barriers for erg tests. You seem to be doing a lot of 2K tests and getting better and better. How do you do it? Well, that is kind of a big thing. I've done plenty of, not necessarily tests, but plenty of, say it's a 2K distance we're using for this example. I've done plenty of 2Ks now, especially in close. So over your rowing career, you probably do a lot of tests, but if you can do them close together, not necessarily flat out, but the distance, if you get used to the distance, you can kind of feel like, okay, well, I know what happens at 500 meters. I know what happens at 600, 700, 100 meters left. I know what to do. So when you can start to sort of think, I'm going to do this on the erg, rather than I'm not really sure how to feel or what to do or what happens when I feel like this, that's when things get a bit cloudy. But if you can be sure and confident of what you're going to do, then you're far ahead of your competition. Now, back to what I mentioned at the start about motivation for long distance ergs. On top of doing long distance ergs to make this only slightly long ergs feel shorter, there's things like, how do I motivate myself? Well, I know for me that this training is helping me. So I've PB'd on my 2K, I've PB'd on my half hour. I might try my 5K at some point soon, and the aim would be to PB on that. But for me, it's improving my targets. And that's the big thing for motivation. Setting those goals, setting those targets, and then doing things that are leading you or guiding you towards those targets. So, for example, if my target was a sub 6 minute 2K and I knew that I had to do much more intensity on the erg, well, I would be more motivated to do the high intensity on the erg. But for me to improve, or at least for now, to improve my 2K, etc., especially in isolation, to improve my erg scores, for me, it's this long mileage, this long steady state. So for me, my target and the steady state align, so it's much easier to motivate myself to say, okay, today I'm sitting on the erg for 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 2 hours, and it's helping me towards my goal. So whatever your goal is finding the things that help you get to that goal, and that makes your motivation that little bit stronger, and the ease to just hop on the erg or go a run or whatever it is you want to do, that little bit easier to then progress towards your goals. Hopefully that makes sense. But that will be it for today's episode of Yam Squad. Something hopefully a little bit different. Let me know in the comments below if you appreciated the little bit of a difference. Hopefully, when we're doing the quickfire round, you could actually hear over the rowing machine. And as always, Yam Squad, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And again, 50% of you watching are not subscribed. There's a couple of comments about some people thought you have to pay to subscribe. Subscribing is completely free. You can turn on or off the notifications so that you can actually know when the videos come out. But if that annoys you, you can disable notifications so you're subscribed, so it goes into like a side bit that you have to visit yourself. Some people don't want to tell YouTube about their preferences. That's completely fine, completely understandable. But again, if you are watching the videos and not subscribed, let me know why, because I would quite like to learn more about the Yam Squad and what they are thinking, because I know sometimes I go on a computer and think, I have to log in to subscribe. That's a perfectly valid excuse of just not logging in and just watching the videos. But surely there can't be 50% of the Yam Squad watching that just aren't logged in to their accounts. But anyway, I digress, and on with the outro. Remember to hit that like button if you haven't already, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode, which is Wednesday, which will hopefully maybe be something different again. And in these isolation times, hopefully you're all staying healthy, and we will see you tomorrow. Oh yeah.